horizon is going ultra, so you can do more.
To Brussels this morning. That's where President Biden is meeting with other world leaders on Russia's war in Ukraine. And Kayla Tausche is there on the ground. Kayla, good morning.
Good morning, Andrew. President Biden just concluded a bilateral meeting with NATO's Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg after Biden this morning told the NATO alliance, according to a senior official, that the U.S. supports adding more troops on NATO's eastern front. Earlier today, President Zelensky of Ukraine accused Russia of using phosphorus bombs, but did not provide evidence of that. And while he did not ask for a no-fly zone or for admission to NATO, he did repeatedly ask for military planes and tanks and says Ukraine cannot defeat Russia without them. A U.S. official tells reporters that there are currently discussions to send Ukraine anti-ship missiles. We'll see if that deal gets finalized. Western leaders are expected to announce new sanctions on Russia later today, and tomorrow a plan to ship more natural gas to Europe. UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson says the sooner Putin begins to feel even more financial pain, the sooner the war will end. The Kremlin today confirming Russian billionaire Roman Abramovich played a role in the early stages of ceasefire talks with Ukraine, but a Kremlin spokesman says now the countries are handling their own negotiations after reports that Abramovich was excluded from U.S. sanctions because of this role as mediator that he had been playing. As the war now enters its second month, NBC News reports that the U.S. will announce a plan to accept 100,000 Ukrainian refugees. The United Nations says 3.5 million Ukrainians have fled their country. Guys.
Hey, Kayla, we're going to run, but is this the Russians effectively throwing Abramovich now under the bus because he wasn't sanctioned? Because effectively what they're effectively saying, I think, is if he's no longer playing mediator, maybe they should take his stuff?
Perhaps. I mean, there are now many reports out there. So the Kremlin was responding to a question from a reporter about the role that he had played, and suggesting that he is no longer playing that role anymore. The Wall Street Journal report suggested that the discussion between Biden and Zelensky on Abramovich took place several weeks ago at an earlier phase of this. So it's unclear whether the Kremlin is accurate in that assessment. We do know, of course, that the UK has included Abramovich on its sanctions list. Of course, he has a lot of property there. So there has not been a united strategy on how to tackle his assets specifically between the allies. But we'll see whether that changes in the next few days.
Okay, Kayla Tausche, Brussels, thank you.
Vladimir Putin has already crossed the red line into barbarism, and I think it's now up to NATO to consider together the appalling crisis in Ukraine, the appalling suffering of the people of Ukraine, and to see what more we can do to help the people of Ukraine to protect themselves, see what more we can do to tighten the economic vice around the Putin regime, and that's what we're going to be some of the things we're going to be talking about. It's very important that we work together to get this thing done as fast as possible. The harder our sanctions, the tougher our economic vice around the Putin regime, the more we can do to help the Ukrainians. I think the faster that this thing can be over.